What if I told you that everything you've been taught about productivity is wrong? That all the hacks, apps, and endless to-do lists are just distractions from the real secret to getting things done? Bold claim, right? But hear me out. What if the solution isn't about doing more, but about thinking differently? See, the ancient Stoics figured this out thousands of years ago. They didn't have smartphones or planners, but their principles can transform the way you approach your day, your goals, and even your mindset. This isn't about lofty philosophy or impractical ideas. It's about powerful, actionable tools that will make you unstoppable. You've probably felt it: the overwhelm, the procrastination, the endless cycle of starting strong and then losing steam. We've all been there. But what if I told you that the key to breaking out of that cycle lies in principles so simple, so timeless, that they've been guiding people for centuries? And no, it's not about hustling harder or squeezing more hours out of the day. It's about clarity, discipline, and focus. The kind of focus that cuts through the noise and gets to the heart of what truly matters. In this video, we're diving into Stoic principles that are not only practical but deeply effective for daily productivity. These ideas might challenge everything you thought you knew about how to get things done. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear roadmap, one that doesn't just boost your productivity, but changes the way you live your life. Ready to rethink your approach and take back control of your day? Let's get started. Number 1. The discipline of denial, thriving without comfort. Let me ask you something bold. What if the secret to a better, more productive life wasn't about adding more, but taking something away? I know, it sounds counterintuitive. In a world that sells us comfort as the ultimate goal, the idea of choosing discomfort feels almost absurd. But hear me out. What if that morning cup of coffee, that extra soft blanket, or even the instant notifications on your phone are quietly sabotaging your ability to thrive? Think about it. We've all been there. You wake up, reach for your phone before your eyes are even fully open, and let the world's noise dictate the tone of your day. Or maybe it's that warm shower you linger in for just a few extra minutes because the thought of stepping out into the cold is unbearable. Harmless, right? But here's the thing. The more we chase comfort, the less prepared we are for life's inevitable discomforts. And when those come, and they always do, they hit us harder. Now here's the strategy, and it's a bit radical. Start your day by denying yourself something you'd normally indulge in. Yes, I said deny. Skip that hot shower and crank it to cold. Walk out of the house without your earbuds. Leave your bed unmade. Do something, anything, that feels a little inconvenient. Why? Because this small act of denial teaches your brain to stop fearing discomfort and start seeing it as just another part of life. It's like a mental vaccine, a controlled dose of adversity that builds your resilience. I know this might sound like some kind of self-inflicted suffering, but let me give you an example from my own life. A while back, I started experimenting with cold showers, not for some trendy wellness fad, but because I wanted to break my dependency on comfort. The first few days? Absolutely miserable. I stood there, teeth chattering, every fiber of my being screaming, "Why are you doing this to yourself?" But after a week, something shifted. It wasn't just about tolerating the cold. It was about realizing that the things I feared weren't nearly as bad as I made them out to be. And once that clicked, I felt invincible, like I could tackle anything life threw my way. This isn't about being a martyr or proving how tough you are. It's about reclaiming control over your mind and emotions. Every time you say no to comfort, you're saying yes to growth. You're reminding yourself that your happiness isn't tied to fleeting pleasures, but to your ability to handle whatever comes your way. That's real power. So, what will you deny yourself today? Maybe it's skipping dessert, turning off your phone for an hour, or saying no to yet another episode of that Netflix series. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be deliberate. Because every small act of denial strengthens your mental muscles, preparing you for the bigger challenges ahead. This isn't about deprivation, it's about freedom. Freedom from the fear of discomfort, freedom to take on life with confidence, and freedom to thrive on your own terms. Your space, your peace, your resilience, it all starts here. So go ahead, take the plunge. The water's cold, but trust me, it's worth it. Number 2, negative visualization for motivation. Let me ask you something a little uncomfortable. What's the worst thing that could happen if you completely failed at your biggest goal right now? I know, it's not the kind of question people throw around at dinner parties. But stay with me here. What if imagining that worst-case scenario could actually unlock your motivation and push you to levels you didn't think were possible? Sounds strange, right? I promise, it works. We've all had those moments. You've got a deadline staring you in the face, or maybe it's a dream project that's been collecting dust because you keep putting it off. And instead of diving in, you find yourself scrolling social media, rearranging your desk, or suddenly feeling the urgent need to clean out your inbox. You tell yourself, I'll get to it later. But later turns into tomorrow, and tomorrow turns into next week. Sound familiar? Here's where the strategy comes in. Negative visualization. It's simple but powerful. Take a moment, close your eyes, and vividly imagine what happens if you don't take action. Picture every awkward conversation, every disappointment, and every missed opportunity. Imagine explaining to your boss, or worse, to yourself, why you didn't deliver. Let yourself feel the weight of that failure. It's uncomfortable, sure, but it's also incredibly clarifying. Now, before you think, wow, this sounds super depressing, let me explain the logic behind it. Our brains are wired to avoid pain. When you visualize failure, you create a mental picture that your mind wants to avoid at all costs. This sharpens your focus and energizes you to act. It's like a fire alarm going off in your head, not pleasant, but impossible to ignore. Let me share how this played out in my own life. A few months ago, I was putting off a major presentation at work. I told myself I had plenty of time, but deep down, I knew I was procrastinating because I was nervous about how it would turn out. Then one evening, I sat down and asked myself, what's the absolute worst that could happen if I don't get this done? I pictured standing in front of my team, fumbling for words, the embarrassed silence stretching on forever. I pictured losing their trust and my own confidence. And you know what? That mental image kicked me into high gear. I spent the next 2 days completely focused, and the presentation turned out to be one of my best. This isn't about scaring yourself into action, it's about clarity. Negative visualization cuts through the noise and forces you to confront what really matters. It reminds you that the discomfort of taking action is nothing compared to the regret of inaction. And here's the best part. Once you've imagined the worst and acted to avoid it, the fear loses its grip. You feel empowered because you didn't just sit there waiting for life to happen. You took control. This is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your purpose. So, the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, pause, close your eyes, and visualize the cost of not doing the thing. Let that uncomfortable feeling propel you forward. Because when you confront your fears, they stop holding you back. This is your life, your moment, your chance to prove to yourself what you're capable of. Embrace the discomfort. It's the spark that lights the fire. Number 3, momentum through micro-suffering. Let's be honest, we've all wished there was an easy, effortless way to be productive. A magic formula where motivation would just kick in and we'd breeze through our tasks like superheroes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Progress often comes with pain, not the kind that breaks you, but the kind that strengthens you. And that's where the concept of micro-suffering comes in. Intrigued? Let's dive in. You know that moment when you stare at your to-do list and just the thought of starting feels exhausting, or when you've set a big goal, but the sheer weight of it paralyzes you before you can even take the first step. We've all been there. The truth is, it's not the work itself that holds us back. It's our instinct to avoid discomfort. We want to sidestep the hard stuff, even though it's the hard stuff that moves the needle. Here's the idea. Instead of running from discomfort, lean into it, just a little. Deliberately choose small, controlled moments of suffering to kickstart your momentum. Take on the hardest task first thing in the morning. Skip the snooze button and get out of bed the second your alarm rings. Push yourself to work 5 minutes longer when you feel like giving up. These tiny challenges, though uncomfortable, create a domino effect of discipline. They train your brain to act despite resistance. Now, you might be thinking, isn't this just glorified self-punishment? Not at all. Think of it like strength training for your willpower. When you lift weights, the goal isn't to hurt yourself. It's to stress your muscles just enough to make them stronger. Micro-suffering works the same way. By taking on small, intentional hardships, you build resilience and reduce your fear of bigger challenges. Let me give you an example. Last month, I was drowning in deadlines. My natural instinct? To avoid everything and scroll through my phone like that would magically solve my problems. But instead, I decided to try something different. I picked the task I dreaded the most, a report I'd been putting off for weeks, and told myself, just do 10 minutes. That's all you have to survive. And those 10 minutes? They were painful. I didn't want to do it. But once I got started, something shifted. By the time I looked up, an hour had flown by, and I was halfway done. That tiny act of micro-suffering broke the cycle of procrastination and built momentum I carried through the rest of my day. The beauty of this strategy is how it transforms your mindset. It's no longer about avoiding discomfort, but embracing it as a tool. Each time you lean into those small moments of suffering, you're telling yourself, I can handle this. You build a track record of victories, no matter how small, and those victories compound over time. This isn't about being a productivity machine. It's about reclaiming your power over the little excuses and fears that keep you stuck. It's about proving to yourself, over and over, that you're stronger than the discomfort standing in your way. So, the next time you're faced with something you don't want to do, don't overthink it. Take a breath, dive in, and let that tiny act of micro-suffering propel you forward. Momentum doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from choosing action, no matter how small, over avoidance. Your space, your peace, your purpose, it's all waiting for you on the other side of that first uncomfortable step. Number 4. Embrace the hour of silence. What if I told you the most powerful way to reset your mind and recharge your productivity doesn't involve a fancy app, a new planner, or even a to-do list? It's not something you can buy, schedule, or outsource. In fact, it's something you already have access to, but probably avoid: silence. And not just a moment of quiet, but an entire hour of intentional silence. Sounds almost impossible in today's noisy world, right? But trust me, it's a game changer. Think about it. When was the last time you spent even 5 minutes without distractions? No phone buzzing, no emails pinging, no background chatter. We've all been there. Our days feel like a whirlwind of notifications, conversations, and endless noise. Even when we're relaxing, we're scrolling, streaming, or filling the air with podcasts or music. It's as if silence has become uncomfortable, something to avoid at all costs. But here's the truth. Silence is where clarity lives. It's in those quiet moments that your brain finally gets a chance to catch up, to breathe, to sort through the chaos. Silence doesn't just clear your mind, it sharpens it. It's like defragging a cluttered hard drive. Once the noise is gone, everything runs smoother. So, here's the strategy. Carve out 1 hour each day for intentional silence. It's not about meditating, journaling, or doing anything specific. It's about not doing. Just sit with your thoughts. Let your mind wander. Listen to the hum of your surroundings. Yes, it will feel strange at first. Your brain might rebel, throwing every unfinished task or random thought at you. But that's the point. Let it. That initial discomfort is your mind untangling itself, sorting through the static to find what really matters. I'll share a personal story. A few months ago, I was overwhelmed with a mountain of deadlines and no clear plan. I felt stuck, constantly switching between tasks without really finishing anything. One day, out of frustration, I decided to sit on my couch in complete silence. No phone, no music, no agenda, just me and my thoughts. The first 15 minutes were brutal. My brain felt like a radio stuck between stations, full of static and noise. But then something shifted. As I sat there, my priorities started to untangle themselves. I realized which tasks truly mattered and which ones I could let go of. By the end of that hour, I had a clear direction, and more importantly, I felt calm and in control. This isn't just about productivity. It's about reclaiming your mental space, your creativity, your sense of self. Silence gives you the room to hear your inner voice, to reflect, and to reconnect with what truly matters to you. It's not about being productive in the traditional sense. It's about being present and intentional. Imagine what could happen if you gave yourself that hour each day, an hour to reset, to listen, to think. No distractions, no noise, just clarity. It might feel indulgent at first, but it's not. It's one of the most powerful things you can do for your mind and your well-being. So, I challenge you, embrace the hour of silence. Let it be uncomfortable, let it feel strange, but let it happen, because in that silence, you'll find strength, focus, and a sense of peace you didn't know you were missing. This is your time, your space, your clarity, your hour of silence. Don't be afraid to embrace it. Number 5. The art of intentional sacrifice. What if the secret to getting everything you want is actually about giving something up? Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We live in a world that constantly screams, have it all. The dream job, the perfect social life, and all the little indulgences in between. But here's the catch. Chasing everything usually means catching nothing. So, let's flip the script. Instead of adding more to your plate, what if you intentionally sacrificed a few things? Not randomly, but with purpose. Trust me, this isn't about deprivation. It's about power. You know that feeling of being stretched too thin, like you're running on a treadmill that's set just a little too fast? You're not alone. We've all been there. Maybe you're saying yes to too many commitments or juggling 5 priorities at once, hoping that if you just work harder, everything will magically fall into place. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. And that's okay. Because here's the truth no one likes to admit. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. Now, here's where intentional sacrifice comes in. It's not about losing, it's about choosing. It's about looking at your life, your goals, and your values, and deciding what's really worth my time and energy. And just as importantly, what's not. When you intentionally let go of things that don't align with your bigger purpose, you're not giving up. You're leveling up. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I had this dream of starting a side hustle. But there was a problem. My evenings were packed with binge-worthy shows and endless social scrolling. Now, I'm not saying Netflix isn't great, it is. But I realized I couldn't build the life I wanted and keep spending hours in passive distraction. So, I made a choice. I sacrificed my TV time for 1 hour of focused work each night. At first, it felt like I was missing out, but over time, that 1 hour turned into progress, which turned into momentum, which turned into results. That small sacrifice unlocked something bigger. And here's the best part. When you make intentional sacrifices, it doesn't feel like losing something. It feels like taking control. You're reclaiming your time, your focus, and your priorities. Think of it like pruning a tree. You cut away the unnecessary branches, not to hurt the tree, but to help it grow stronger and taller. This isn't just about productivity. It's about living with clarity and purpose. It's about saying no to what drains you so you can say yes to what fuels you. Maybe it's skipping that extra commitment you don't actually care about. Maybe it's giving up an old habit that no longer serves you. Whatever it is, the point isn't the sacrifice itself, it's what it makes space for. So, let me ask you, what's one thing you could let go of today to make room for something better tomorrow? It doesn't have to be big or dramatic. Start small. Choose one habit, one distraction, one unnecessary obligation. Let it go. And watch how that intentional choice creates space for something truly meaningful. This is the art of intentional sacrifice. It's not about deprivation, it's about elevation. It's about owning your choices, reclaiming your focus, and building the life you want, one purposeful decision at a time. So, what will you choose? Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope this video helped spark new ideas or gave you a fresh perspective on how Stoic principles can transform your daily productivity. If you found it valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know this content resonates with you. And if you're hungry for more insights like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. If there's someone in your life who could benefit from these ideas, share this video with them. It might be just what they need to hear today. I'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know. What Stoic principle or strategy are you excited to try in your own life? Or maybe share your own experiences, your wins, your struggles, so we can all learn from each other. Remember, productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters. Every small action rooted in clarity and purpose gets you closer to the life you want. So, take this energy with you, apply what you've learned, and keep striving for excellence. You've got this. Until next time, stay focused, stay intentional, and keep embracing the journey. See you in the next video.